This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Warriors, come out to play. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I am your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me is my lovely, esteemed co-host,
Phillip Bridges.
There you go. I'll let you say your name because I usually don't do that on our show. Welcome, everyone, to the MVP Network, the most valuable podcast network. We are the Fast Break Podcast. We will be covering all NBA topics, and we're going to start off with the Warriors. The Warriors are currently 12-0, and people are comparing them to the 1996-97 Bulls team that went 72-10. And when we did our show and we talked about these Warriors, you said they are going to be nowhere as great as these Bulls.
I didn't say nowhere. They're going to be a great team. I just didn't believe that they were going to go 72-10 or better.
Is this now 12-0 start helping you maybe change your ways? Do you still believe that they're not going to
go? No.
Are you sure?
If they do, that'll be great. I just don't believe it.
Why not? What about this team is not giving you your? Because
it's not that they're.
Because last year they went 67-15, and they're 12-0 right now.
Yeah, they're not a bad team. They're great. You know, it's not the fact that I have doubts in them. It's that I have too much. There's too much talent in the rest of the league. There are too many decent sides out there to think that they're gonna be able to go 72-10. Thing with the Bulls was that the quality wasn't necessarily as high when they went 72-10 as to now, where you have a lot of good teams, especially in that Western Conference. So 72-10, nah. Do I think they're going to match what their record was? Yeah. Probably a bit better, but not to 72.
I mean, the person with the most points in the NBA is Stephen Curry. I think he has like 484. In second place is Damian Lillard with like 383. So he has 100 more points than the second guy with the most points in the NBA. Stephen Curry
by himself. Stephen Curry, I think he's on pace for another MVP.
Oh, for sure, especially if this team beats the Bulls record.
Yeah, you'd have to think they would. You're going to have another Coach of the Year award going
to Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr's going to earn it, and it's just going to be a great year if they were to beat the record.
I mean, looking at this team, I mean, they retained all of their players from last year besides David Lee. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And I mean, David Lee isn't that huge of a loss. I mean, David Lee's a decent player, but
he is decent.
I would rather have Draymond Green, and that's who they kept. And I mean, looking at this team, I mean, it's not just Steph Curry. I mean, you have Klay Thompson, who's averaging 15 a game. You have Harrison Barnes, who's averaging 12 a game. You have Draymond Green, who's averaging 12 a game. We know Andre Iguodala is great off the bench. Andrew Bogut he's played 6 games this year, but he was their leading rebounder. He's 8.5 rebounds per game. So I feel like this team has enough from a starting standpoint. And then from off the bench with like Sean Livingston, Brandon Rush, Maurice Speets, Leandro Barboza.
It just depends on the mindset they go with. Is it going to be the sprint mindset or is it going to be the marathon mindset?
I mean, I feel like they can do both. That's the thing. I feel like they can run the fastest marathon is what I'm saying. This team is just, they're too good to be beat. Looking at their schedule, their next game is against the Clippers. That's going to be a tough game. That's the team that can beat them. Then after that, they have Chicago. D. Rose might not play because of his ankle.
All right.
Then they have Denver, Los Angeles. Those are 2 easy wins. Then they have Phoenix. They could beat Phoenix. They have Sacramento. They can beat Sacramento. They have Utah. They can beat Utah. They have Charlotte. They can beat Charlotte. Then they have Toronto. If they get over that hump and get to 14-0, then they have 15-0, 16-0, 17-0. They can get to 20-0.
They could, and then they could get to 18-2. I mean, it's going to be a great start. I'm not going to doubt the fact that they're a great team. I won't. They are a great team.
You don't think they're going to go 72 and
I just don't
or 72-10 then?
I just don't think they're going 72. It's 72-10. That's my only thing. It's not that I think they're bad. It's not that I think that they won't win a championship. It's just a simple fact that I don't see them beating the record. I don't see them allowing themselves to overexert themselves during the regular season. Because here's the thing, you have teams who will try to throw it all out in there during the regular season, like Tom Thibodeau's Bulls, and you end up in situations where your players aren't at 100%. You have players getting injured, and you end up not being able to finish off the season the way you would have thought. You know, it's kind of like the San Antonio mindset. Hey, we're going to do great. Doesn't matter where we finish as long as we're in the playoffs. We're going to do fine. And we'll just really start revving it up once we get in.
I do want to I want to correct one thing before I actually say something. I was saying the 96 to 97 team.
It was
95 96.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was the year before. I would feel bad. I feel bad. I'm disgracing my Bulls. I'm not a NBA fan, but I mean, I'll still root for the Bulls. But Steph Curry, you mentioned the MVP. Is it clear cut if he continues at this pace?
If he continues at this pace, there's no reason not to give him the MVP.
Because KD's hurt, so KD will be out for, I think it was 2 months?
I believe 2 months.
2 months, so he's out. I mean, he's usually a perennial MVP candidate. LeBron, you know, he's been LeBron for the most part, but he's also kind of looked a little, you know, it might just be he's just still warming up. I mean, he's got averaging 27.3 a game. But can he? I mean, he's LeBron, so I don't know why I'm saying can he continue it. He's LeBron James.
LeBron James.
I mean, he's
the only thing that's gonna stop Steph Curry is LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean,
if LeBron James just goes off, you know, that might throw a lot of question into the MVP race. But as of now, yeah, it's Steph Curry's to lose in theory.
I mean, looking at LeBron's stats, the highest points per game he's ever scored was in 07-08. And he's shot 48% for the field. Right now he's shooting 50% for the field. So that's significantly better. But his 3-point shooting is at the lowest rate it's ever been. And besides his rookie year, he's at 30% from the 3-point line. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's if Steph Curry continues at this pace, it's going to be a unanimous MVP vote for Steph Curry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that'll be fine. I mean, I think LeBron's going to be in the mindset of, hey, okay, you can have the MVP. I'll take the NBA title every day.
Do you think do you think?
I think that's the mindset at this point. Like, hey, you know, I've got my MVPs. I want my NBA titles now.
But do you think he's actually going to win the NBA? Do you think he could beat this Warriors team?
No.
You don't?
I want to think they possibly have enough because then let's not forget that series last year. Kyrie wasn't there. Kevin wasn't there. Kyrie wasn't really there, but Kevin Love wasn't there. I believe, right?
Kevin Love was hurt, yeah.
Yeah.
He got hurt with Jerbeco, ripped out his arm socket or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was nasty.
It was pretty nasty. But we're speaking about historically great teams in the Warriors. They're 0-12. They can, you know, fight for the 95-96 Bulls record that went 72-10. However,
12-0.
12-0.
You
Sorry.
said 0-12.
Well, that's what I was getting to. Now we have a historically bad team that is 0-11. The worst start in NBA history. Well, tied for the worst start. There's also the 70-71 Cavaliers, the 97-98 Denver Nuggets, the 88-89 Miami Heat, the 72-73 76ers, and then now the 15-16 76ers, who stand at 0-11. They have Jahlil Okafor, who's looking like the Rookie of the Year candidate right now.
He just might take the Rookie of the Year.
Do you think this 76ers team is going to get to 9 wins? Do you think we'll either see the best team in NBA history, or do you think we'll see the worst team in NBA history? Which is more likely?
Okay. Now, I think the odds are better in favor of if I were to make a wager, I'd be better off going with the Philadelphia not getting 9 wins.
Really?
I think I'm better off with Philadelphia not getting 9 wins.
I mean, I don't. I disagree with that because I think the Warriors. I mean, they're 12-0, and I think they can get to 20-0.
And Philadelphia's 0-11, and I don't think they're getting over 9 wins.
They've also been in some games.
They've been in some games. But still, they're 0-11. You can be in some games. There is no column for, they were in that game. You still lost. And at the end of the day, that's all that counts. You win some, you lose some. But Philadelphia, all they've been doing is losing.
I have a question. What do you think is more likely? The 76ers making a trade to not be the worst team in NBA history, or the Warriors making a trade to become the best team in NBA history?
Better question is, what trade would that be?
I have no idea. I mean, Boogie Cousins is out there. What? Boogie.
Okay. Boogie.
DeMarcus Cousins. He's out there.
I know.
I mean, outside of, Rondo coming out of nowhere, being actually a decent player this year, Boogie's the only player on the Kings that's actually doing anything. Boogie might be upset because Vivek Ranadive is not looking too bright in that Kings GM. But, I mean, I'm just saying, what do you think would be more likely? I mean, do you think...
I think, Philadelphia's in the mindset, if we're going to be awful, let's just be awful. I don't think they're going to make any moves. I don't think what would be the point of making any moves unless they're clearing cap space. That would be the only thing I'd see them doing in terms of trades. So, it's more likely you'd see the Warriors make a move to be the best. But that being said, I don't see them making any moves necessarily as of now.
What do you think that team, if the Warriors can improve in any single aspect?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I mean,
I'm not saying a specific player, but if just in general, what?
I mean, you can argue.
Do you want to score off the bench? Do you want more defense coming from the bench?
Or
do you want a starter?
I mean, where would you go with this team? I mean, do you want to go with size? You want a bigger, stronger presence down low?
I mean, you can kind of argue that they don't have a great big man.
They don't have a great big man, but with the way they're playing, they don't need a great big man.
Small ball, yeah.
Small ball works.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it has worked for them. And CBS Sports actually did something, and they did a 2K simulation of the 95-96 Bulls versus the 15-16 Warriors in 2K. You want to know what the outcome was?
Don't tell me the 15-16 Warriors won.
I played one game, and for that game, which was arrived in a time machine and played on a computer, Harper was wrong because Ron Harper previously stated that the 96 Bulls would destroy the Warriors. The Warriors, despite playing in Chicago, cruised to a 131-105 victory. Two things about this were absolutely no surprise. First, Michael Jordan completely dominated the world, scoring 51 points, 31 of them being in the first half, and shooting 23 of 32, largely with his old school post moves on Curry. And
that's the only thing. Why is Steph Curry defending Michael Jordan?
I don't know. I don't understand it, but they even gave us a box score. Jordan had 51 points. Pippen had 17. Kukoc had 10. Curry had 10 points. Klay Thompson had 20. Draymond Green had 37 points.
See, that's the thing that's gonna.
Steph Curry scoring 10.
No, see, that's unreal. That's not real.
And then just one other joke was, it says Michael Jordan -20 for plus numbers. Is that real? Well, no, it's not real. It's a computer game. Where else could the 2015 Steve Kerr coach against his 1996 self? And you see him with this terrible hair running down the court. I think that's Harrison Barnes, or that's Leandro Barbosa he's chasing down. So, I mean, 2K says it's going to happen, so I think it's real.
No.
I think they're a better team. You had Pippen and you had Jordan.
I mean, that being said,
Rodman.
Rodman. You had Rodman.
Outside of that, they didn't have a big man force.
I mean, but they had the role players who knew how to do their job.
I mean, Andre Iguodala was the finals champion. Finals MVP. I'm sorry.
Deservedly so. He changed that series on the head.
And he wasn't a starter. He was a bench player.
Yeah, but they eventually made that switch.
I'm just saying they have great guys off the bench.
It would be a great game if they could ever make it a reality thing, whatever. That'd have been a great game.
In actual reality, though, you don't think it's gonna happen. Give me your final stance. You don't think the Warriors are gonna go 72-10?
No, for that game, if those two teams were to face each other, I think it's a closer game, not 131.
I'm not talking about the NBA game. I'm talking in reality. Right now,
I think they go.
What's your final record for the Warriors?
70-12.
70-12. You're gonna give them 2 wins. 2 wins away from it.
Yeah, 2 wins away from it.
73-9. They're gonna squeak it out in the last. Steph Curry's just gonna be like, I see the record. It's gonna be against Jordan's Hornets too.
That's just.
He's gonna stare. He's gonna stare down Jordan. He's just gonna stare him down, knock down a 3, and then do the Jordan just Jordan walk away.
I think that'd be the ultimate.
He's just gonna shrug him. He's gonna be like, I'm sorry, Jordan. I'm sorry, Mike.
It's my league now.
You old man. But we did talk about DeMarcus Cousins and Sacramento Kings. They're currently 4-7. Along with them in the 4-7, who are 4-7 in the West,
the
Houston Rockets, who have today fired their coach Kevin McHale. Do you like that move? I know that was a terrible segue from.
Yeah, it was horrible, but we'll work on it.
Here, how about this? Steve Kerr, great coach, coaching this team to a possible record. But on the other hand, in the Western Conference, we have a terrible coach. Again, former player Kevin McHale getting fired. Is that better? Better segue?
Better segue.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, do you like the move for Houston?
I mean, someone had to go. You had the feeling someone had to go, and they're not going to get rid of the player. So yeah, it was the best move for them. And whoever,
do you think it had to be made now? Do you think he should have gotten more time?
I think, yeah, he should have gotten a bit more time, probably to the trade deadline, a bit further down the road. I think that would have been better to see if he would have been able to get that team back on back to where they were. But that being said, sometimes you have to make a move like in a snap, in an instant instead of waiting. You can't afford to wait as long. So, it was a move that they made. They felt they had to, and it's fine by me.
Historically, Kevin McHale, he's improved every year. He's been a coach. He was first 19-12 in 2000-2005 or 2004-2005 when he first coached the Timberwolves. Then he took over the Timberwolves again in 08-09, went 20-43. Then he was hired as Houston's coach, went 34-32, then 45-37, then 54-28, then 56-26 last year, and he got that team to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the Warriors. I mean, you can't really blame him on that one. I mean, this is a coach that brought a team to the Western Conference Finals. Do you think that was more of James Harden being a top 3 NBA player, or do you think it was Kevin McHale's coaching that pushed this Rockets team? And do you think he couldn't rekindle that magic? Do you think he probably lost the locker room or something?
If I had to throw out a guess, I'd probably say he probably did lose the locker room. You think, how can a 56 team that was 56-26 fall to where they are now? It's simple. Whatever was working last year, I guess the players, started getting. You could argue the players probably got too full of themselves. You could argue that. You could
definitely argue that. I mean, I think looking at this team, you got to look like what changed, like at least from a personnel standpoint. You look at this team and you see Patrick Beverley was hurt, and then Ty Lawson acquired, and now he's playing 36.2 minutes per game, 8.9 points, and he's got 5.6 rebounds per game. So, I mean, you acquire this big name in Ty Lawson, great point guard, kind of crappy off the court, but that doesn't matter. You acquire this, great talent, and then this team just does not gel. Do you think it's more of a team thing that he couldn't combine this team's forces? Do you think this is like a Heat problem when they kept stuck with Spoelstra the first year with the big 3 and then just, gave him time and then they finally gelled? Do you think it was more of the team not bonding together, and do you think it was just, 3 big stars just wanting the name acquisition?
Yeah, it wasn't. I think it probably, if you're going to look at this, it was more of a. I don't know how to put this. I guess you could simply say it was a matter of they really didn't buy in to what was going on, And because of that, you're going to have pushback from the players who weren't necessarily okay with the moves made. Well, they would have been okay with the moves made at first, but when you see it's not working, you start getting that pushback. And eventually, when you get that pushback, you're not going to be able to hold the locker room like you were before, and it cost him his job.
One thing I did hear about what the Rockets should have done, it was more like, Patrick Beverley did get hurt, so they couldn't do this, but if Patrick Beverley was still there, you take Ty Lawson out of the starting lineup, you put Patrick Beverley on there so James Harden can still be the point guard, and you still have a great defender in Patrick Beverley. Then you have Ty Lawson coming off the bench, so Ty Lawson can do his own thing, work off that way, and then you have a great scorer off the bench, and then you could put in Ty Lawson and James Harden at the end, so you have two great scoring powers. You won't have great defense because both Harden and Lawson don't play defense, but you still have two great offensive skills right there.
But the Rockets weren't willing to see that out.
The media is not. Most of the media has not responded too well. They said Kevin McHale should have gotten more time. Right. Mainly looking at this, or mainly one person specific, Irving Magic Johnson. You think you've heard of him?
Yeah.
Old Magic.
Yeah.
Remember
Magic.
him? Yeah. I don't because I wasn't born when he was playing. But Magic tweeted out, "If it's true, the Houston Rockets fired Coach McHale. They've made a big mistake. The Rockets have great individual players, but they do not have great team players. I tweeted earlier that the Houston Rockets are not championship caliber teams. So far, they've proved me right. Do you agree that it's just great individual players that cannot gel as a team? And then even with McHale, do you think this team could even revamp and get to a championship this year? Do you think this whole season's lost for them?"
No, it's not lost. It's still early. It's just 11 games into their season. They can still turn it around. It's just not going to be with Kevin McHale.
Who do you think comes in? Because I think there's a guy that we know in Chicago pretty well. Big name coach.
Tom Thibodeau. Thibs.
Do you think they bring in Thibs? Thibs will give you a kick in the ass.
Thibs will get you he'll get you to the playoffs. He'll get you deep. It's just a matter of will your players make it.
Would he be able to get James Harden to play defense?
I don't know. That's the thing. And the better question is, how much influence do the star players have? How much influence do you think a Dwight Howard has? How much influence do you think James Harden will have? Because I won't sit there and be naive and think, the management are going to be the only ones who are really making the decision. Players will have their influence, and if a star player wants a certain coach, he's probably going to get a look, and most likely he may come in to the team, and that's how it usually is.
People out there, looking at this team that or looking at coaches available that might be a fit for this team. Obviously Thibodeau, who has had pretty decent success with Chicago, just ran into LeBron James. Yeah, just ran into a guy named LeBron James a couple times. Couldn't climb that mountain. Couldn't get to the finals.
Almost did it.
Almost.
But LeBron was just no.
He's LeBron. Another
wasn't.
name that's been thrown out was Jeff Van Gundy, the analyst for ESPN. He was former Rockets coach. He was fired in 2007. And Dwight Howard actually has a link with the Van Gundys because Steve was his coach when the Magic went to the finals in 2010? 2009? 2009-2010 season.
And then they ran into Kobe.
Yeah, then they ran into Kobe. We'll get to Kobe later.
Right.
But would you pick, if you have to pick Thibodeau or Jeff Van Gundy, where are you going? Do you just stick with the interim?
If you don't want to stick with the interim and you feel like you have to get a new coach, I'm going Thibs.
Do you stick with the interim? If you have interim coach, I don't know who's coming in. JB Bickerstaff is the interim basis. Great last name. Do you think Bickerstaff?
If you know you can get Tom Thibodeau, you're gonna take Tom Thibodeau.
Does Thibodeau want to take it? Because he's currently getting paid by the Bulls still.
That's.
Do you think he cares? Do you think he's just gonna wait this out?
I think Thibs wants a job. I'm not. He's enjoying getting paid for not working, but I think he wants back in the NBA.
Do you think he takes a year off waits to the offseason, then waits for some jobs to open up?
That's probably the move he's trying to make. See out the season, see what jobs are available, pounce on the best job available for him. And wasn't it this summer once he was fired? Wasn't he linked with the New Orleans job?
He was linked to the New Orleans job, but they didn't give it to him. Looking at the teams that are currently at the bottom, the Pelicans are still at the bottom. Do you think the Pelicans...
1-10.
I mean, what? Looking at the NBA, the structure of the NBA right now, what team do you think falls next? What coach do you think falls next? Do you think Los Angeles fires their coach? I mean, Portland had some bad luck with LaMarcus Aldridge leaving, but do you think they give him some lenience? Do you think, George Karl gets a full season with the Kings, or do you think they fire him? I mean, Brooklyn's doing terrible. Do you think they fire the coach of the Nets? What are you looking at here?
If things don't get better in Brooklyn, you're gonna see a coaching change. I mean, for the owner, he's not gonna be the owner of the team. He's not gonna be really happy. He bought that team thinking he was gonna be able to build a championship contender, and it's just not working out the way he thought it is.
Monty Williams was a coach from 2010 to 2015, and then in this offseason, they hired Alvin Gentry to be the coach. So Alvin Gentry is currently the head coach of the Pelicans.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think Gentry gets a full
Not at this
run?
rate.
I mean, he's 1-10.
1-10. He's not going to get a full...
A team that was in the playoffs last year.
So, he's not going to get much more... He's not going to get much more time to get it together. I think at this point, they're probably already... not officially, but they've probably sent out a few winks at Tom Thibodeau, trying to see if he would be interested in that job.
Speaking of the Sixers, Brent Brown is the current coach of the Sixers. He is 37 and 127 since 2013 when he took over the job. That's a 22% winning percentage. Do you think Tom Thibodeau is more enticed by James Harden, Dwight Howard, and Ty Lawson, or the chance to go with a big man? Do you think he wants to go to the 76ers and get the three big, the three big men in Okafor, Noel, and Embiid if he ever plays? Or do you go with...
And Embiid, that's the one that's going to get me the most. What are they going to do with the Embiid situation?
I mean, I have no idea. They might try to trade him for like a bag of peanuts or something. Because, I mean, look, or do you go to the Pelicans where you have a top 5 NBA player there in Anthony Davis? If you're Tom Thibodeau,
it's basically...
you get 3 contracts. You get to go to the Rockets. You get to go to the 76ers. You get to go to the Pelicans. Which one are you taking?
If he's in the win now mentality, he's going to go to Houston.
No, which one are you picking?
If I was Tom Thibodeau?
If you're Tom Thibodeau, you're getting the same amount of money, same amount of years, what team are you picking?
That might shock you, but I'm going Philadelphia.
That doesn't shock me at all.
Yeah, that's it. His chance to put a total imprint on that team.
I picked just because of the uniforms.
Okay.
But anyways, go.
We'll talk about uniforms later.
Go.
No, that's what was my point. I'm going Philadelphia. That's a team I can put my imprint on. I can build that team up from the ground up, and I can have my total influence instead of being in a situation in Houston where I'm dealing with these egos and I'm dealing with players who aren't willing to play my style or aren't willing to put in much effort to play my style. And I'm willing to go to a place where I'm not going to have much of a tug of war with the management.
I mean, I'm following your route, except instead of going to Philadelphia, I'm going to New Orleans because Anthony Davis is fantastic. I'm gonna take AD all day.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, you got Anthony Davis. This team excelled under Monty Williams. I mean, for some part, he got to the playoffs. So, they did pretty decent with a pretty bad coach. Tom Thibodeau can, take, the guy who will lead the blocks or lead blocks per game in the NBA, basically with Anthony Davis, get his defensive core right there and just Anthony Davis alone. I think he would run with that. Speaking of bottom teams, the Los Angeles Lakers are 2-9. Does that shock you?
No.
Why not?
It's, what about that team is actually...
They have Kobe.
So?
The 92nd best player in the NBA, according to ESPN.
There was a reason for that.
Hey, 92 is still okay. He's averaging 16.9 points per game in like the 3 that he's played. Or 8, I'm sorry. He's played 8 games.
I mean, what made you honestly think that Lakers team was going to be anything?
Oh, I didn't at all. I knew the Lakers were going to be terrible. But I'm just saying, like, does Kobe, he's got 16 points per game. I mean, if we were talking to Usama right now, he would be like, Kobe's the best player in the league. He got 24 points in a game. You know, he is the king of the NBA still. I mean,
he's not. He's not anymore.
Do you think this is it for Kobe?
This probably is it for Kobe.
This is the way he's going to go out. He's going to pull Peyton Manning and go out on a low point.
I mean, I don't think he has much of a choice. What team is going to... Well, I won't see what team would want him. I'm pretty sure a few teams would be...
I don't think the Lakers would want to get rid of him. I mean, it's Kobe Bryant. That name's gonna... That name alone...
money.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, where would Kobe go? Kobe would probably want to be on a playoff team if he leaves to go anywhere.
Kobe's historically shooting the worst percent. He's shooting 33% from the field.
Not shocking.
It's just...
He's trying to do what he used to do and just throw a team on his back, but now he's kind of realizing he does not have much around him.
I just thought of the greatest thing ever.
What?
Remember when I brought up how the Warriors are gonna Warriors should trade for someone?
Don't you dare.
Kobe. Bring in Kobe.
No.
It's a short drive.
No.
That'd be fantastic. Get Kobe in another yellow uniform.
Why trade for him when you're just gonna sign him for just sign him in free agency?
What's better than Michael Jordan, or what's like on the level of Michael Jordan? 2001 to 2011 Kobe Bryant. He's the Jordan.
Oh my God.
You don't agree with me? For some reason, Kobe won't come off the bench.
Kobe's got it. Ego.
No,
he's got it.
No shit, Kobe's got an ego.
He's got too much of an ego.
Kobe is an ego.
Beside
my
ego,
favorite,
it's his face beside the word ego.
Yeah, my favorite thing is just when he changes number from 8 to 24 because he's won 3 rings, so he just multiplied it. I love it. He's got such a huge ego. You don't think he comes off the bench? What's wrong with you? Kobe's definitely gonna come off the bench.
Who?
No one. It's a joke.
No, I get you, but if we were being serious about it, what team might he be willing to come off the bench for?
No one. No one. It's not reality. What? Kobe won't come off the bench.
There's gonna be
practice. The bench. I know that's AI, but the bench. Talking about the bench. I'm Kobe. 2-time or what is he? I'm gonna pull an AI here. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna commit to the bit.
You're gonna really do this?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. All right, let's see. All right, let's pull up Kobe's stats. The bench. A 5-time NBA champion doesn't come off the bench. A 2-time NBA Finals MVP doesn't come off the bench. The most valuable player in the NBA in 2008 doesn't come off the bench. A 17 NBA All-Star does not come off the bench. A 4-time NBA All-Star Game MVP does not come off the bench. An 11-time All-Team First NBA does not come off the bench. Talking about the bench?
With the numbers you putting up, you better come off the bench.
This year, yeah. Oh, Lord. Kobe's... I mean, a guy that's averaged 35.4 points per game is going to come off the bench?
When you only getting 16 per game, yes, sir.
16 per game is not that bad.
It's not that bad.
That's a respectable number, but when you're shooting less than 35% from the field, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And you know Kobe, he's taking 30 field goals per game.
That's the only other thing. Like, hey, Kobe, could you not shoot too many shots? What are you talking about?
The bench? Kobe Bryant's 36th in the NBA with points per game. Guess who he's tied with?
Who? Derrick Rose?
No. Just take a guess.
I don't know.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak from the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, yeah, Milwaukee's going to be pretty decent. They'll be decent this year.
We'll get to that later. But, I mean, ahead of them, we got Dwayne Wade, we got Al Horford, we got Kevin Love, we got John Wall, Chris Bosh, Dirk. Dirk's Speaking of old guys who are balling, I mean, Kobe's not balling, but Dirk is balling.
I mean, Dirk was always going to ball.
But you don't think this from a 37-year-old guy who's 7 feet tall with like terrible knees. Like this, Dirk is looking just normal Dirk. Dirk's just being Dirk.
I mean, he's always going to have that ability to just drop shots.
He's shooting 50% from the field. 50% from the field, 18 points per game, and what? Let's see, rebounds. 7 rebounds per game.
I mean, what?
Kobe needs to be drinking what Dirk is drinking. Give him that Germany water.
That Germany tap water?
Real quick, who drafted Dirk Nowitzki?
Mavericks.
Nope.
Wait, who?
Milwaukee Bucks. It was a trade. Who drafted Kobe?
Lakers.
Nope.
Who?
Hornets. It was a trade. Both of them got traded on draft day.
Wow. They've been on their teams for so long.
Who drafted Michael Jordan?
Okay, the Bulls do not play that game.
Yeah, Kobe went 13th overall by the Charlotte Hornets.
And Dirk went
9th overall in 98. So
let's review that draft.
Well, no, that's 2 separate drafts.
Okay, let's review both drafts. I want the Kobe draft first because what 12 teams picked overlooked Kobe?
Okay, 1996 NBA draft. Number 1 pick was the 76ers. Who'd they pick?
Allen Iverson.
They picked AI. So
Okay,
that's a decent pick.
fine.
That's a pretty good
fine.
pick. Number 2, Toronto Raptors select Marcus Camby.
Okay.
Number 3, Vancouver Grizzlies. There you go.
Oh gosh.
Selected Sharif Abdur-Rahim. Decent shooter. Not as good enough as Kobe. Number 4, you probably had his shoes. The Milwaukee Bucks pick up Stephon Marbury.
Oh gosh.
The 5th pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves, which was traded. These 2 guys swept. Marbury and this guy. Can you guess who the Timberwolves traded or picked up and then traded to Milwaukee?
I don't know.
Greatest 3-point shooter of all time, Ray Allen.
Ray Allen for Stephon Marbury.
That's a good trade. That's a good trade.
Great.
Boston Celtics select Antoine Walker with the 6th pick. Lorenzo Wright goes 7 overall to the Clippers.
Who?
Harry Kittles goes 8 overall.
Who?
Sammy Walker goes 9th overall to the Dallas Mavericks.
What?
Eric Dampier goes 10th overall to the Pacers. Todd Fuller goes 11th overall to the Golden State Warriors.
Okay, yep.
And then the Cavaliers select, right before Kobe, Vitalia Popatenko.
Bet Cleveland's kind of regretting that right now.
Then Charlotte Hornets take Kobe Bryant and then trade him to the Lakers for Vlade Divac. I mean,
I get at the time.
Vlade was good.
He was good. I guess at the time it was.
I mean, I don't want to start about the 2002 Kings because that team is my jam with, Mike Bibby, the guy who was selected at number 14 overall, Peja Stojakovic,
The team
Doug Christie.
The team that couldn't win the title because who?
Kobe.
Oh, okay.
And then 15th overall, Steve Nash.
Oh, no.
And then Charlotte Hornets just picked up Kobe. Who else do we need? Tony Delk. And then the next pick was Jermaine O'Neal. Undrafted players, Ben Wallace was one of them.
Yeah.
Decent pickup. Decent. And then you want to do the 98 draft?
Yeah.
We got off topic, but this is fun. All right, 1996 draft, 97, 98. Here we go. Who went number 1 overall to the Los Angeles Clippers? Michael Olowokandi. Number 2, who went number 2 overall to the Vancouver Grizzlies?
Don't tell me Steve Francis.
Mike Bibby.
Oh, Mike Bibby. Okay.
Number 3 overall went to the Denver Nuggets. Who was it?
Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby was a Vancouver Grizzly.
Yeah.
Wow. That must have been fun.
I mean, he probably was terrible, and then he probably picked it up with the Kings. But who went number 3 overall?
No,
I can't pronounce his name. Rafe LaFrentz to the Denver Nuggets. Number 4 overall, Antoine Jameson. Decent pick. Number 5, who is it?
You're asking me as if I remember anything.
Selected by the Golden State Warriors and then was traded to Toronto. Does that ring a bell? Toronto?
Unless you're telling me that's Vince Carter.
That is Vince Carter. Vince Carter. Then number 6, Robert Traylor. Robert the Tractor Trailer going to the Dallas Mavericks at 6. Then that pick was traded to Milwaukee for Dirk. So Robert the Tractor Trailer for Dirk. Decent trade. Sacramento Kings pick up Jason Williams. Number 8, Larry Hughes, former Bull, gets picked up at number 8 by the 76ers. Number 9, Dirk. Number 10, Boston Celtics pick a junior out of Kansas by the name of Paul Pierce. So let me ask you that question. Out of the top 3 players in that draft, you got Vince Carter, you got Dirk, and you got Mike Bibby. Who?
Wait, whoa.
No, you got Vince Carter, you got Dirk, and Paul Pierce. Who are you taking for your centerpiece? If you could redo that draft.
If I could redo that draft and pick a centerpiece.
Are you picking Dirk for the longevity? Are you picking, the truth? Are you picking this clutch monster in Paul Pierce? Or are you picking a freak athlete who's just absurd in his rookie career and then is hindered by injuries with Vince Carter?
Obviously I'm not going Vince, but
I would go Vince.
You'd start with Vince.
Oh, if I was the Toronto Raptors, yeah. Because Vince Carter looks way too good, and Toronto Raptors usually take him out of it. It's true. Those Raptor jerseys are great, but
we're not focusing on the jerseys. We'll talk about that.
Who are you picking?
I'm going with Dirk.
You're going with Dirk?
Dirk, yeah.
Why?
Dirk is a great centerpiece. He's a good shooter. And the thing about him is I could build a team around him.
And win a championship? Paul Pierce won a championship.
With ease. Easier.
You think so?
Easy.
It's an easy pick to go Dirk over both of those guys.
For me, it's easy.
Wow. All right.
I can understand people will be like, I could just see the people in the comments like, what is this kid on? How could you pick Dirk over the truth and Vince Carter?
Let me ask you this question. Who had the career high in points per game?
For that rookie season?
No, throughout their whole career. Dirk, Paul Pierce, Vince Carter. Who has the most points per game throughout their career?
Probably. I want to say it was probably Paul Pierce, but something about my heart wants to say Dirk.
Number 1 had 22.2 points per game. Number 2 had 20.6. Number 3 was 19.4. Vince Carter was 19.4. Paul Pierce was 20.6. Dirk was 20.2. 22.2. If you cut out, every year from 2009 to 2015, I think Vince takes it. But since he had those years, Vince Carter,
he was great.
From 1999, All-Star. 2000, All-Star. 2001, All-Star. 2002, All-Star. 2003, All-Star. 2004, All-Star. 2004 when we got traded, All-Star. 2005, All-Star. 2006, All-Star. Vince was fantastic.
He was fantastic.
It was just the injuries.
But injuries hindered him.
All right. We should get off that because that wasn't our topic that we were talking about. We just saw Dirk. We saw the Mavericks and I lit up. Just last thing about Dirk. That's out of all those players, that's the only jersey I owned was Dirk Nowitzki.
Could you not want Dirk Nowitzki?
I used to shoot like him. I was a 5'5" white kid, so I was like, Dirk is the greatest white shooter. I am Dirk now. It didn't work well for me. I once shot 8 threes in a game, missed them all.
You could tell us more about your great career.
I don't want to because we're running short on time. We have 15 minutes left.
We do have 15 minutes left.
And we're going to go to the season predictions. We're going to skip the Jersey Talk. We'll go to the Jersey Talk at a different time. If you are listening right now, tell us in the comments below if you are on YouTube, what is the best throwback jersey of NBA history? If you're listening right now, again, comment
below
in the YouTube section. What is the best throwback jersey of all time? We will give you our answers next week.
And while you're at it, how about you throw a like and subscribe?
That's what we should have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and subscribe this MVP, or Most Valuable Podcast Network here on YouTube. Find us on SoundCloud and find us on iTunes. And I believe there's other places, but Ricky didn't tell me them. So
yeah.
But anyway, let's go to season predictions. All right? Who is your 1 through 8 in the Western Conference? Well, who's the 1?
Oh, it's going to be Golden State.
There you go.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Golden State's number 1 easy in the Western Conference.
Yeah,
you can't debate that, really.
Yeah, that's not debatable.
So Golden State's number 1. We got that.
Golden State's going to be number 1. Number 2, I'm probably going. Number 2 is going to be. I'm actually going to go. I'm going to say the Clippers are going to go number 2.
Clippers. Currently, the Spurs are at number 2, so you're going to knock the Spurs down. 2.
3.
3. So Spurs are going to go down. Okay. Spurs are going to be at 3. Who's your 4?
4th is going to be 4th is going to be Dallas, actually.
You're going to stick with the Dallas. You think Dirk's going to keep that up?
Yeah, Dirk's going to keep it up.
Do you think DeAndre Jordan regrets going to the Clippers again?
No.
All right, whatever. We'll talk about that a different time. Who's your 5th seed?
My 5th seed would probably be OKC.
Thunder. Who's your 6th?
Probably Phoenix.
Phoenix. The Suns coming in at 6. Who's your 7?
7 is probably...
Not probably. You got to give us a definitive answer, Phil.
I'm sorry, sir.
Tell
so
us.
much pressure. Memphis.
Memphis. Thank you. Who's your 8? Who's your 8?
I'm going to go crazy here.
Pelicans.
No, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Just being crazy.
All right. Minnesota. They're kind of Pelicans-esque last year. Now, shifting to the Eastern Conference.
Shifting?
I have no idea.
It's going to be Cleveland number 1.
Shocker. Shocking.
So shocking. What a shocker. Chicago 2.
Cavaliers. I spelled Cavaliers wrong. I should probably just put Cavs to make it easier on myself. Bulls at 2. Who's your 3?
I'm gonna go.
Atlanta. You're gonna go Heat. You're gonna go Toronto.
And I'm gonna go Washington.
Washington. The Wizards.
Yeah.
All right. Who's your 4?
That would be Atlanta.
The Hawks. ATL. Who's your 5?
5's gonna be Toronto.
Toronto. Wow. Not really wow. I don't know why I said wow. Who's your 6?
6 is probably gonna be Miami.
Heat.
Yeah.
Who's your 7 and 8?
7 is gonna be Indiana. 8 gonna be Detroit.
Wow. I'm surprised you don't have one team in there.
I probably forgot.
Looking at the Western Conference, I agree with Golden State easily. I'm going to say Spurs take number 2, Clippers take number 3, Thunder take 4, even without KD. Mavericks are going to take 5, Suns are going to be 6, Timberwolves are going to be 7, and Memphis is going to be 8. Now I'm going to just focus on you specifically. Oh, also on the Eastern Conference, I'm going to knock out the Pistons, put in the Celtics at 7.
Okay.
Pacers are going to be dropped down to 8. But looking at you specifically, how are your playoffs going to play out? So looking at the Western Conference, you have a 1-8 seed between the Timberwolves and the Warriors.
Warriors.
Are you sure?
Yes. What
Shocking.
What doubt would there be?
It's a joke.
I know.
It's a joke.
Look, you're the Joker. I'm the serious guy. Let's just let that ride out.
Clippers and Memphis.
Clippers and Memphis. I'm going Clippers.
All right, that's a shocking one right there. Outside of Paul Gasol, who do they have? Or Marc Gasol, who do they have?
They have Randolph.
He's old.
So
Spurs versus the Suns. Are the Spurs going to get knocked out? Upset here.
no.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me. Looking at the 4-5 matchup, the Battle of Texas, the Mavericks versus the Thunder. A healthy KD, possibly.
With the Thunder?
Yeah. Thunder at 5.
You said the Battle of Texas.
The Red River rivalry. God
Come on,
damn
man.
it. The Red River rivalry. Oklahoma City versus Dallas. I don't know my geography. It's too late to start now. Who is winning? Can you just pick?
I'm gonna go OKC.
OKC. All right, there you go.
All right.
Finally an upset. If you can even call a 4-5 an upset.
It's not really an upset.
God.
You decide to screw it up, sir.
Shut up. All right. Looking at the Eastern Conference, you have a 1-8 matchup. Cavs versus the Pistons.
Cavs. I mean,
What?
do you believe in Andre Drummond?
You're not
and the
taking
Pistons?
Brandon Jennings over LeBron James. What's wrong with you?
I don't know. Somebody needs to help me.
Bulls versus Pacers. Indiana's given the Bulls trouble in the playoffs before.
Yeah, they have, but never beat them.
Do you think they beat them this time?
No.
All right. Pacers are out. Bulls taking it. Think the Bulls can keep up what they're doing? You think D Rose will finally be able to see? Wizards versus the Heat. Does D Wade beat the younging in John Wall?
Now, this one was going to be my upset one.
But you're not going to go with it now?
I'm still going with it.
Going with it.
Yeah.
Miami Heat. What about the Heat? Do you think he's going to knock off the Wizards? Is it they don't have Paul Pierce now?
They
don't have the truth.
The truth is gone.
That's the reason.
I think the veteran experience is gonna.
Yep.
Yeah, the veteran experience is gonna be all that they really need.
I mean, you got Chris Bosh, you got D Wade. D Wade's still D Wade. I mean, you got Goran Dragic, and
Whiteside
just got a triple double with blocks.
Yeah.
Blocks and rebounds. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So I think Miami's gonna take care of business.
4-5 matchup: Hawks and Raptors. Kyle Lowry, does he rekindle that magic?
Does he?
Are we the North?
Are we the North? Find out next time. No, just kidding. Yeah, Toronto goes and wins.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
Paul Millsap and all company.
Hawks falling out. We're gonna stick with the Eastern Conference. You got a 1-6 matchup.
Oh, we're going through all of them?
Yeah.
All the way to the finals?
Oh yeah, you're picking a finals. You got Cavs versus the Heat. You got a 1-6 matchup. Heat. Does LeBron get payback from leaving Miami?
What do you mean? The Heat get payback?
Yeah. Does LeBron get paid back for leaving Miami and Miami beats him?
No.
I phrased it wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think the Heat are gonna beat Cavs?
No.
God.
No. They won't.
So critical. God, the Cavs win. Bulls versus Raptors. Do the Bulls go on? Hoiberg get to the finals. The Eastern Conference Finals. There you go.
Yes, I'm going to criticize you.
You're going to go with the Bulls or the Raptors?
Bulls.
Yeah. Bulls versus the Cavs.
I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be a tight matchup, but I think the Bulls win out.
Who would ever think the Bulls would face the Cavaliers in the playoffs? No one would suspect that.
It's a shocking development.
Golden State versus the Thunder. You got a 1-5 matchup.
Golden State wins.
All right.
They're going to body everyone.
You don't think KD?
They're going to body everyone.
Clippers versus the Spurs.
Spurs.
All right. Golden State versus the Spurs. You have the new Michael Jordan. That's in air quotes. Don't relax, people. I'm not calling him Michael Jordan. And Stephen Curry, and you have the ageless wonder in Tim Duncan. You have Greg Popovich, the greatest coach. You have Steve Kerr, who can possibly become the greatest coach in NBA history.
The clash, old versus new.
Who's winning?
Comes together.
Old versus new.
Going down to Game 7. I'm gonna go Steph Curry.
All right. Golden State is your Western Conference winners, going to face off either against the Cavaliers or the Bulls. Do the Bulls get their revenge? Is Hoiberg the magic they needed?
No,
All
not
right.
now.
Familiar sight.
Familiar sight. Same place. Same time.
Just real quick, I'm gonna mention this because I do think Golden State's gonna go 73-9. I think they're gonna beat it by 1. I would love to see a Bulls Cavs matchup and just see Steph Curry go up against the Bulls, and then we finally get we see the matchup between the greatest team ever against the team that had the history of Michael Jordan. This could be the start. This could be the start of another 6 titles in 10 years.
Could be.
Is it going to be? Are we going to see back-to-back Golden State wins over the Cavs?
Yes, we are. No, we're not.
You think the Cavs are going to win?
I think
You think LeBron brings a thing to Cleveland, a championship to Cleveland?
LeBron is going to be very upset, sir. Kyrie is going to want revenge. Kevin Love might play like actually a great player.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player.
He might go. He might take that. He might step up and say, "Hey, I'm here now."
Hey, remember my Minnesota days when I always got a triple or double-double because I just shot threes and got rebounds?
Remember those days? They're back.
Remember when people thought I was an MVP candidate and they were like, "Hey, let's trade Andrew Wiggins for me"? Yeah. It's not that big of a regret. It's still a regret, but
it's not that big.
So you're taking the Cavs.
I'm taking the Cavs.
Cleveland finally gets some recognition.
Cleveland will get the title
Cleveland's
they so sorely need.
I'm going to get rid of all of MVP's Cleveland demographic. With Cleveland is still going to be sad. I think Warriors take it. There's no way the Warriors go 73-9 and then don't take it.
I mean, there's always a chance. Patriots went undefeated.
Don't bring it up. Don't bring it up. This is an NBA podcast. I don't need heartbreak.
Hey, you get heartbreak. You get heartbreak, sir.
I want to thank everyone for listening to the first installment of our Fast Break podcast. This isn't the first installment on the MVP podcast network. We're taking this over for a couple people who have gone, and then Ricky's like, you guys want to do something? And we're like, yeah, I guess we're not opposed to it. We do want to thank you for listening. If you have listened this far, we do want to thank Ricky for letting us do this podcast. This might not have been good.
This might have been awful.
This was probably awful.
It was probably awful. You're all like, what the hell are these guys doing here? But we promise you, the more time we go on, the better we will get.
Hopefully.
Probably.
Again, your question of today's podcast, mull it over for this week, and then come back to us. Respond. What is the greatest throwback jersey in NBA history? We will have our answers next week for you. Thank you for listening, everybody. We hope you had a great and fantastic time here at the Fast Break Podcast. Any closing thoughts, Phil?
Enjoy the rest of the week, and yeah, life is good.
Now I want, if you guys are listening, then play the NBA on NBC theme, because I don't think we could put that legally on YouTube. So just play it and just feel the emotions that you feel with the greatest NBA or basketball song that has through. Anyway, just listen to that song. It's fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are the Fast Break Podcast for Phillip Bridges. I am Sean Anderson. Have a great week. Woo!
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.